Perfect. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to the fourth session of our property sequence. We have a really informative session for you today with a guest of ours. My name's Tony Pereira. For anybody who doesn't know me. So, I hope you've been watching some of our earlier sessions, and I hope it's given you a lot of value. That's what the main aim is of our sessions ongoing. We're giving you a lot of value. We always do ask for any comments, any share with anybody. That's fine, and any questions that you have, more than happy to answer those if you put those in the comment section. So, as I mentioned today, we're very lucky. We've got a fantastic session planned for you today. We have a property finance, mortgage, and bridging session with as you know, Faz is a property expert, been doing property for a long time. How are you doing, Faz? You okay?
Yes, very well. Thank you very much, Tony. All good, fantastic. Enjoying the weather. Absolutely amazing at the moment.
Lovely. You look like you're getting a tan there, Faz, as well.
Yeah, I don't think I need it, but yeah, I'm getting one. Yeah, awesome.
And just to introduce our expert, our mortgage and bridging specialist, Alice Sparks, who's been in property and bridging for a number of years and has great experience. So really lucky to have you on the call, Alice. How are you doing? Everything okay?
Yes, all is good. Thank you for that lovely introduction.
No problem. So what we're going to do is we've got an agenda planned. So I'm just going to some of the points, and we're going to pick your brains, Alice, today, and hopefully you don't mind sharing your years and years of knowledge and experience that you've had with our viewers. So first of all, just if you don't mind giving us an introduction of yourself and your experience and what you've been doing, and anything you feel that would be relevant. Thanks.
Thank you, Tony. My name is Alice Sparks, as Tony kindly introduced. Help property investors and property developers access the best finance products that are suitable for their needs. So I've been in financial services over 15 years. I worked at a private bank in London, and I've been able to assist clients with mortgages and development finance. So on helping clients access the best products and help them profit in the best way that they can, and the quickest time by accessing the great products.
Lovely, thank you. So it sounds like you've got a lot of experience. So you've worked in different different sorts of situations and different sorts of companies, is it? Or you've sort of seen a vast amount of transactions, I suppose?
Yes. Transactions, working as a private banker, helping people to access development finance and first-time mortgages. So I am a qualified mortgage advisor, but I've chosen to access the unregulated market because I find it a little bit more exciting, being able to deliver a loan for a client in 3 weeks. I'm really determined to help clients access good commercial mortgages at a quicker and accelerated rate than general. So by being able to access a whole of market to help those clients refinance out of maybe a bridge, or access their, if it's an existing tenanted property.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Right, so obviously we are in sort of unprecedented times at the moment. I hope you guys would agree. With regards to the property market, it's a lot of change obviously at the moment, and the feeling is obviously a lot of buyers are scared about entering the market, if you want to call it that. You may have some who are looking to sort of of some of the discounts, there are. What are your views, Alice, on the current market in terms of lenders and bridging and all that kind of stuff? What's the kind of update and in sort of the mortgage world of what lenders are sort of saying at the moment?
Well, currently right now, 22nd of June 2020, after Father's Day, we are now seeing lenders keen to lend back to where they were lending at before lockdown. So, 75% loan to value is pretty common. And for bridging, 75% is getting back up there for clients. So with regards to valuations, we're pretty confident, although I say that valuers are coming back with the right valuations. Okay. It's only when the client is actually upvaluing their own property or upvaluing the property that they're buying that there is an issue. But actually we're seeing that valuers are comfortably valuing properties at market value.
That's good. So that means that a little bit of confidence is coming in, I suppose, is it? And are you seeing a lot of discount in terms of the properties that are being sort of bought at the moment, or transactions that are going through?
Well, so transactions have gone up, and you can refer to transactions on Land Registry, so you can have a look at that. And I strongly recommend that you have a look at mouse prices and you look at the transactions in your local area to where you're buying. With regards to sorry, what was the question?
Sorry, the question was: are you seeing much sort of below market, a lot of below market value sort of transactions at the moment, or?
So I'm not seeing a lot of difference in below market value transactions.
Yeah.
People want to access, but we still want to know the reasons why a property is being marketed at that. Right. And through bridging, we will accept, or for your audience, they need to either look at going for open market value bridging, or we will do a 90% against the purchase price. But the most important reason is it is so heavily discounted.
Okay. So, reasons like a quick sale, for example, or, the seller, maybe going through a divorce and just needs to get rid of the property. Would those kind of reasons sort of work for most of the lenders?
Yes. So, they're perfectly acceptable reasons.
Yeah.
However, I had a recent below market value inquiry because the client wanted to sell because they were an elderly couple and he'd met another elderly partner, and they wanted to, move in together, create some magic. But the walls were of non-standard non-standard construction.
Okay.
So again, like we can provide the bridging for that, but we really want to give you the exit for that particular project.
Right.
So if you are wanting to access things quickly, then you must bear in mind that you've got the safety of your exit, because you want the property at the end.
Yes, of course. Yeah. So, next question. Thank you for those comments, Alice. In terms of valuations, I know you sort of touched on it earlier, but any sort of I know you get lots of examples of investors trying to upvalue their deals, but to ensure that anybody trying to refinance or get their money back out, any advice in terms of what they do to ensure that they do get the right valuation, or the valuation that is sort of the market value at that time and for that type of property in that area?
Yeah. So you can go to land registry. You can ask your estate agent. They understand the values around the area, and they provide you, as well as what rental yield they expect that property to achieve. It depends on what it is that you wish to achieve. Are you going to invest in a project and exit, or are you going to invest in a project and have it as a rental project?
Sure. So it depends on the different circumstances, I suppose. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, for example, if it's say someone that just wanted to ensure that they got most, but then obviously keep it running as a rental, it is the best advice, obviously, to speak to estate agents in the area. There are comments about maybe getting your own RICS valuation. Do you feel that type of thing helps?
Yes, of course. It does help to get your own RICS valuation to give you surety to go into the deal. However, your best practice is to do your own analysis of the project, and if you're like what I say as a rule of thumb is assume more than 1% interest. You ideally want to be paying less than 1% interest. So if you put that to the equation, 1% interest, and then you work out the market value that you're going to either exit or refund, that you've got profit, and you know that you're going to get your money back out. If you've worked out those calculations up front, then why pay for an independent RICS valuation when you commit to a lender and you get your valuation based on that for lending purposes.
Yes. Right.
A RICS is going to be different compared to a RICS valuation based on lending purposes.
Sure.
And if you're an investor, actually, you want your mindset to be as if you are a lender. You're lending yourself. You're lending yourself the money.
Yeah.
What would happen if this happened.
Yeah.
Don't look at the wonderful figures. Look at worst case scenario, which is what lenders do.
Right.
The risk.
Understood. I think from an investing point of view, it is always difficult, isn't it, to sort of think about the lender's point of view, and we kind of, if we don't get the valuation that we want, then we we kind of blame them. But yes, that's great advice. Is there any advice, Alice, in terms of if you don't get the right valuation, you know it's not the right valuation from one particular lender? Is there any advice on what you can do? See if they will change their mind, or is it better to just do a new application with another lender?
Well, I personally think that's the situation that you choose a broker that understands and works with suitable lenders, and you know how those lenders work.
Yeah.
And you're very specific, and actually, as much as you independent valuation, which is very, very good, you must think you're lending to yourself.
Right.
You are the lender. You're taking the risk.
Sure.
And actually, so for example, my first port of call would be to help a client access a bridging product.
Yeah.
That you could flick into the commercial mortgage product.
Okay.
So you're only paying one set of fees.
Right.
But then you've got no exit to switch into that product. So they look at the whole project.
Right. As one.
Wow.
Okay.
So that's best advice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be paying another fee. But at the moment, where we're sitting, is that we don't know where property values are going to sit.
Yes. Yeah.
But we always know that there's a need for housing. There's a need for tenants.
Yes. Yes.
So my best advice would be, great to bridge and exit by sale, but if you can't get the sale price and you can't exit at the point that you want to, then you have to bear in mind that you might have to rent it out for 2 to 3 years to get your price.
Right, yeah.
So I just, it's great to be highly leveraged and take risks.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be at the end of the phone with a client saying I've lost my property because I wanted to sell. I didn't keep in mind that I might have to look after it for like 3 or 4 years to get what I wanted.
Yeah. It's I suppose it's going with eyes wide open. I suppose that's the advice there, and it's.
So if you imagine that it's your funds, it's your money that you're lending out.
Yeah.
And what risk you're to be taking when you separate yourself from your actual project, you want some leeway, don't you?
Of course, yeah, of course.
Stressful, is there? Like your dream project, and then you lose it, because at the end of the day, all the lender's doing is making sure, worst case scenario, they get their money.
Of course, yeah, that's the objective of any lender, isn't it? So, great advice. Now, I think you touched on there in terms of commercial and bricks and mortar sort of valuations. Now, in the example, someone's looking obviously just to sort of pull their money out. Is there kind of a rule of thumb in terms of what's the better product, I suppose, to go on to in terms of getting a higher valuation, or is there how would that work, and what your sort of best advice for that type of thing?
So generally, what you want to do is you want, like for example, an HMO, which is going to be six rooms minimum plus to get the best commercial valuation and to start to get your rental yield working right. Otherwise, you'll back to bricks and mortar, which is not taking into account the yield of your rental income.
Amazing. So, sorry, Faz, we've been keeping you on mute there. I think Alice has given some really great advice for our viewers today. I think it's been really informative. Do you have any comments or any general questions that you'd like to pose to Alice? While we've got obviously from your experience.
Okay, yeah, I have got a question
that we've had.
I have got a question for Alice. Now, with an investor's cap on, do you think it's best for an investor to put in a deposit with a bridger and ask for a product which offers 100% refurb project money, in the hope that you can refinance with another lender on the exit? Or would you prefer to guide an investor down the route of buying the property cash with a private finance or bridger and doing it that way?
Great question, Faz. Thank you. So, you know, it really depends on the deal structure and how you're financing it. So, you know, if you're going to be earning a lot of profit from the project and you're confident that you're going to be able to sell it, then yes, you can go for a private lender, and not necessarily have that particular product as a safety net. So it just depends on the deal. So how you structure the finance. For now, you know, you go with a product that the exit is already factored in. So you've already got the exit. I mean, I can access bridging loans without any exit. So you don't have to have a provable exit. So if you really want to take,
so should I put a deposit in?
You can't possibly.
Should I put a deposit for a bridging loan and ask the same bridger to give me 100% of the refurb money? Should I do it that way, or should I ask the bridger to just buy the property using cash outright, including the refurb cost, and do it that way?
Faz, we do need to look at the actual project to see whether or not what the best solutions are.
Yeah, okay.
Without giving the full information. If you've got all of the cash, then then that's a great product. You're only asking for refurbishment costs, which really isn't a bridge.
Okay. So then,
but it just
yeah. So does the bridger require to put a second charge on the property, or does it have to be a first charge?
Well, if you're extracting funds to purchase for the refurbishment costs, then and the property is unencumbered, then they're going to take a first charge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Fantastic.
So all development is first charge. So development finance ground up is 70%, which is the higher finance, and 100% build costs, which is a first charge.
Okay. All right. So that's great. Thank you very much for that, Alice. And so if somebody has got poor credit, does that have any influence on getting bridging?
No, because bridging is all based on the asset. So it's all based on whether or not that they can retrieve that property back with the funds lent. So it doesn't matter. That's the beauty of bridging, you know, and that's what can really help people get back onto the property ladder, get back their credit rating, because if you repay that bridge or a joint venture structure, you can always do joint venture structures with some lenders that will help you access funds, and joint venture funders are probably a really good option for some people, because actually the joint venture entity is so interested in you. So although some people like to be independent and create their own property wealth, actually sometimes we still need that support, and we still need that little kick up the bum to make sure that everything's done on time. And it's a good way of working with people. And you do a joint venture with somebody or a lender at the end of 12 months or however long your term is, that your credit rate is just suddenly improved, and you've got developer experience.
Wow. Give us an example of a typical joint venture scenario.
Well, I've got a couple really. So one that's got out recently is that I'm helping an accountant who is wanting to get into property development. He has spoken to the landowner. The landowner's happy to put the land, 50% of the land, into the deal, and the property developer, who's going to pay for the planning, will give the landowner 50% back on the sale of the properties. So what we've done is we've structured finance that their 50% loan is provided by the financier, the lender, and 100% build costs. And the architect puts in £50,000 to help purchase the land. And then on completion, he pays 50% to the landowner and repays the loan. And both parties are party to the loan. The other option is 90% loan to costs. So a developer might come up with a scheme and only have between 10 and 30% of a contribution on day one, and the lender will lend the rest and pay 100% build costs between 0.45 and 0.75% per month, which is lower than a general bridging rate, and then 50-50% on exit, the interest and from the scheme. But actually what it does is it assists people that might not have enough money for a project, but actually helps them deliver. I do have an example, but one example is that on the joint venture scheme that a client has, they have they would get 300,000 on month 12. So, so one example.
Mute the other people. There's a couple of other people on the call. Do you want to mute? Make sure they're all muted. Perhaps?
Yeah, I think they're all muted.
One of them isn't. I think Danielle. Apart from Alice, of course.
Oh, okay. Anyway, they've gone anyway.
Alice is still on mute.
There you go.
There you go.
So
carry on.
So for example, clients that have had 90% loan to costs taken from them recently, although say they had the greatest ambition to create an HMO, and that was going to get them 900,000, and actually the joint venture partner comes in and says, right, well we'll split 50-50 costs, so they'll end up with 450,000 on month 12. 450,000 on month 12 to work on is still a great opportunity, because if you make that money in the 12 months, one, you've got the experience with the joint venture funder to negotiate for a better scheme, and two, in 12 months' time, you've got 450,000 to pay for your next scheme, and you become financially independent every time you grow and develop your schemes. So I would say is take up the opportunities of what funding there is available. And yeah, it's great to be earning 100% of your own efforts if you put in 100% of your funds. But actually, if you want to get on and move on, 50% is better than it just sitting on your desk.
100%. Absolutely. Very, really sound advice there. That's unbelievable advice through a wealth of knowledge there from Miss Alice Parks. That's unbelievable. what she just shared there with us. That is just
Yeah.
a lot of golden nuggets there, you know.
Definitely.
Fantastic. That's very good.
I'm
Yeah, go on, Tom.
conscious of the time, Faz. So,
Yeah.
any further questions, Faz? Or?
No, that's all for me, Thomas.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Lovely. Well, yeah, thanks again. So we just wrap up now, and just say thanks again. As you shared a lot of golden nuggets, as Faz said, and it's been really informative. Just to say, any viewers, what we'll do is that okay? If you can just obviously, myself, we've got your contact details. We'll gladly pass them on for anyone that's looking for finance, particularly with bridging and with development finance, as you mentioned in the start. So we'll do that. Yeah, and any closing comments from yourself?
I'm really happy
Alice?
to help your network, Tony and Faz, with
Thank you.
inquiries. So really happy. If they think it's a question that might be a little bit silly, or they want to try and work out the best structure, really happy to take any type of inquiry and really help and encourage people to be able to utilise their cash in the best way that they can.
Can I just ask you something, Alice? We didn't really touch on development finance too much, but for somebody who's new, wanting to get into that space, I mean, all they ever hear is that you need experience, but to get any experience, you have to do it. But you can't get development finance unless you have experience. So how would somebody new just jump that bandwagon and go from doing HMO properties to jump to commercial development finance?
Well, so even participating in an HMO and taking financial risk is actually showing credibility within the lender's criteria. So obviously development is slightly different, where it's ground up, but actually we want to be helping, because if you do have experience and you are successful in creating an HMO or refurbishment or managing a team, then that is just your natural transition to move into property development. So, you know, there's lenders out there that will support you, and there's also brokerages and help you make sure that your finance works and your finance is structured.
Okay.
So, you know, it's all down to whether or not your scheme works and it's going to make you profit. So, you know, that's what you have to factor into. And with development finance, you have a contract, so that should any issues arise, then when the developer takes over the project, which we don't want that to happen. So you know, if you're going to be developer, you've got to be an action taker. You've got to do it. You've got to be honest. You've got to deliver. If it's not something that works, then work with a partner that's actually to help you deliver. It's all teamwork, isn't it?
Yep, 100%. Absolutely. Wow. Okay, that's fantastic. So just one more question, Tone. I know you're itching to get in there. I just wanted to ask Alice. Which type of deal would you recommend or encourage somebody completely new to commercial side of things to start with to get their teeth stuck into something?
Well, you've got to have your deposit. Yeah. Let's not just think that we can just get a project for nothing. You've got to have a deposit. Set your mind on the deposit, and actually, it's the best profit that you can possibly make. If you work out the figures, if you're using finance, then base everything on a 1% interest. Gross up your deal. See what your end value is going to be, and if you've got contingencies of 10%, then and you're sitting at about 20 to 30% profit, then that works.
Well, for any newbie that's listening to this, which type of commercial project do you think they should get stuck into?
So, well, again, that's a very ambiguous question, Faz. I would say that it's on the profit. So, if you find a project and you know nothing about property development, you come across a property, it's really run down, it's your mate's nan down the road, she wants to sell it quick, it's really old, you can buy it cheaply and you can sell it or you can rent it. Always bear in mind that you might have to rent it. It's brilliant to sell it, but what if you don't sell? So just make sure that you bear that in mind, so that you don't, if you're new into this, you just take in some creations that actually you need to rent it out. Speak to your local estate agent, find out what the demand of the area, what the demand is. I mean, there's some areas where people would not even want to rent, but it might be a nice rundown property, but no one would rent it from a mile off. So check out your research.
Fantastic. Wow, amazing. Well, lots of golden nuggets there for our listeners today. All right, so I think that's enough for me, Tone. So all over to you now.
Thank you. Thanks again. So sorry, we were at the closing comment stage, and then there was some final questions, but it was all really, really valuable. So thanks again, and thank you for your time. Watching that wants to get in touch with Alice or is looking at financing a project, then please just put a comment for us, and we will gladly pass on her contact details. And Alice, obviously, any viewers, if you can give them the best deal that you can, That would be much appreciated. Perfect. So thanks again. We'll end it there, and we wish you all the best in your future projects.
Thank you very much for your time, guys.
That's all right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alice.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.